Welcome to the Ballard Proud podcast. It seems everyone can agree that Ballard is a fantastic school district, and when asked why, the answer always includes some reference to, well, it's people and relationships. So I'm on a mission to get to know the people of Ballard and find out why everyone is so proud to be part of this district. I'm Danny Trimble, Superintendent for the Ballard District, and I'd love for you to come along with me on this journey to uncover what it means to be Ballard Proud. Welcome to this edition of the Ballard Proud podcast. Our guest today is Natalie Lawrence, our new Spanish teacher at the high school. Natalie, thank you for agreeing to let us have some of your time today and get to know you as you get started at Ballard.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I really do.
We start the same way in every interview here for the podcast, and that's just trying to understand background and learn more about you. So tell us about your path that leads you to Ballard.
Well, I am originally from the Ames area. I grew up in the North Ames area, which meant I went to Gilbert High School, and not Ames High School. So I've known Ballard for a very long time, especially because I was a cheerleader. So I got to go to a lot of the games. And when my brother is 2 years ahead of me, and so I grew up going to his football games, and he was one of the quarterbacks. And so every time we played Ballard, it got really, rowdy, fun, because we were such huge rivals when it came to sports. And so that's how I kind of got to know Ballard. And then I obviously did a lot of theater stuff and speech, and Ballard sometimes would host. And I was always really amazed with the library, and I just always thought the school was really cool. And overall, Huxley, we have family friends from there. And so Ballard is always kind of in the background. And how I kind of got into this teaching job was my mom works at Gilbert. She's one of the secretaries. And John Ronka recently is now the principal over there. And he heard that I was looking for some jobs. And I kind of noticed that Ballard was open. And he instantly told my mom, like, hey, I'll do a mock interview with her. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is probably just someone from Gilbert who wants to help out. And so I did the interview, and then he got me set up with Chris Deason. And then literally it went from finishing my first placement in student teaching to going to an interview at another school to driving all the way to Huxley to do another interview. And so it was a lot, but then that night I got the job. And so that's kind of how I am here now. And I'm very excited since that I don't have to drive too far from home, and it's an area I know. And so I was very excited to even have this opportunity from Mr. Ronka, plus everyone at Ballard who was willing to take me on such short notice for the interview and everything.
Nice. Yes. And how about college? Where did you go to college?
Yes, I went to the University of Northern Iowa. My mom wanted me to go there because she's like, it's a teaching school. And it really is. You really learn a lot. My favorite part was how UNI does their teaching programs, because a lot of schools I looked at were like, okay, you have to major in teaching, and then have a second major in what you want to actually teach. And then if you want to do, and it's just a lot. Well, UNI is like, we have the double major, but it's like mushed together. So it's not overwhelming and complicated to declare anything. So I have a Spanish teaching degree. And then with that, since I was already in the Bachelor of Arts path, I was looking at other things to like study for minors. And my first half, I had a creative writing minor just because I like books, I like writing. And then when I eventually was planning on going to study in Spain for a few months, it was going to add an extra semester anyway. And I thought, you know what, I like school, I'm going to add another minor, because why not? And so the reason I added another one is through my Spanish studies. I was learning a lot about like ancient religions in Spain or in the Americas before Spain colonized it. And I'm like, religion's so cool. So I added a religion minor. So I have the double minor there. And then I technically have studied at two universities, one in Spain and UNI. So
wow,
I love school, and that's why I'm a teacher. So, and we always joke saying like, I finally finished all this school just to go back to school. And eventually I'm going to use this career to probably go back to school more and get more degrees and just never stop.
Yeah, good for you. Lifelong learning. Yep.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, then you're probably going to love this next question, or it's a hard question to narrow down because we'd love to hear about memorable experiences. So you already talked nicely about some of that experience in high school and college. So what stands out most to you?
I wanted to be a teacher because as a growing teenager, dealt with a lot of mental health things and especially just the stereotypical time I'm living in right now with being, social media, like Instagram blew up when I was like 13 or 14. And so a lot of that anxiety and comparison and just mental health, I'm happy it's so focused on now because like I was in the age when you were still transitioning from, oh, you're just a teenager to, oh, maybe there's something else going on. And when I was diagnosed with severe anxiety in high school, it was really hard to navigate, but I have such great memories of teachers who really cared about me and asked me how I was doing regularly. Or I had teachers who I would have like a panic attack and they responded so well with me. And even to the point that there was one teacher I had, and he never talked to me about anxiety at all. He never addressed it, nothing like that. But he had a class where he said, okay, every single day we're going to learn about chemistry, and then every Friday we're going to have a test. And it never changed. And he was always that steady, this is what's happening all the time. And it was so refreshing to not be surprised with all of everything going on in my life, just to be, still. And so I realized I want to be that teacher for so many kids because I don't know if I would have made it if I didn't have teachers who cared or were just that, safe spot or just that regularity in schools. And I even had a teacher once, it was a Spanish teacher. We were doing a project and she let me bring my dog to school to like videotape for like, it's just teachers who care about you. And they inspired me so much to do that. And I have countless stories that would take 2 hours to tell about me wanting to be a teacher because of these memories, but mainly just teachers seeing me as a human and not another student or another teenager. It was like, well, that's Natalie. She likes reading, she likes Spanish, and then yeah, going from there.
Kudos to our friends up in Gilbert for a good
Yes,
experience. Nice.
exactly.
What do you like to do in your spare time, Natalie?
I already mentioned it. I really like to read and write. Last summer, I got really into crocheting. So when I was just recently moved, most of it was books and yarn. And I got teased a lot about it. I really enjoy playing video games, like cozy video games. Me and my boyfriend love playing board games. I kind of hide it a little bit, but I'm very nerdy. Like I love board games. I love like me and my boyfriend will build like little tiny miniature guys and like models and like I just really like hobbies. Like I will do anything that's like, you want to try this hobby? Sure. So I love that a lot. And then since I grew up in a sporting family, I really do like going to sport games, sporting events. I'm not knowledgeable, as you can see. I just hang out with my family, but they make it fun. And I just like hanging out with people, which is why the hobbies and sports come to, because you get to, share that interest with other people and everything.
Yeah, you're really going to like it here at Ballard, I can tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how about a playlist? What's on your playlist?
So and I will get to a little later because it was one of the questions was what's something you don't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to know. I grew up dancing, and so it's been really hard for me to find a playlist for me. But I really like indie or like alternative. So I like Maggie Rogers. I like Dodie Clark. I like that. I love Taylor Swift. Just because I grew up with her. And the joke with me though is like I was a casual listener, but then everyone thinks I fell in love with Travis Kelce because of Taylor Swift. It's the opposite. Like I have loved Travis Kelce since I was like 16 years old. And then I paid more attention to Taylor Swift because he started dating her, which is backwards for a lot of people. I like Olivia Rodrigo. I like, the strong female artists, but I really listen to anything. Like I really like a lot. My family loves country, and so I'm around so many music lovers that my brain just is like I like everything
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And thank you for validating my love for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I didn't really care. And then my friend said, "Have you ever listened to All Too Well 10-minute version?" I'm like, "No, why?" And she goes and she like handed me, she's like, "You'll need this," and it was a tissue. And then she played it, and I'm crying. And she's like, "There, that's the reaction that's supposed to happen."
Oh my goodness, yes. Okay, so the question about something that would surprise you. Here it is. What do you think would surprise people to learn about you?
Yeah, so I danced competitively for 13 years, to the point that it's my only like humble brag to high school students that I danced against JoJo Siwa at one point. Like she was like literally like right next to me at a dance convention, and it was like right before she got huge and everything, but people knew her, and I was like, I don't care, I don't. She's this girl with a bow in her hair, but yeah, I danced competitively, and when I was probably like 14 years old, I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life was dance in either like Broadway, or I was probably going to go more northeast instead of west because I just liked the more musical aspect of dancing instead of like the commercialized in California. But I fell in love with dance from a very, very young age and kept doing it. But then high school hit and I was like, well, I want to do cheerleading. Oh, I want to do track. You know, teenagers, body's changing. Maybe I can't do dance that intensely. And so I haven't danced since high school, but that was a really huge part of me, which kind of leads to my love for musicals and theater, just because I grew up in that world of costumes and makeup and music and everything like that.
Yeah, now I'm curious about, do you have a favorite stage show?
So growing up, it was Mamma Mia because that was the first ever musical I watched. But recently, I watched Chicago for the first time, and I can never stop talking about it. So, but that's like favorite musical. My favorite play is Our Town, which I know Ballard recently did, I think. So I love a lot. So the musicals I did in high school though were Calamity Jane and Seussical. So very different than my usual like Chicago, Mamma Mia, fast-paced dancing, but still fun to do.
And it's fun to listen to you talk about such a wide-ranging high school experience, which, as we all know, is one of the great things about a district of our size, like Ballard. So, yeah. What are you looking forward to about joining us here at Ballard?
I'm just looking forward to, in a way, it's like coming home because, like I said, I grew up with Ballard, and it's very similar to just the spaces I grew up in. And I just love how much, like, I've seen just that community grow, like all like Gilbert, Ballard, North Pole, Nevada, like all, I feel like we were all kind of really small and then we kind of all started growing up together a little bit. And so it feels kind of like coming home with just very similar backgrounds. And I just know that it's going to be a great place for me just because it's something I'm not saying I know what's going to happen, but it's just something that I grew up with in the kind of district it is. And I'm also just looking forward to I get to help with a musical this year, and I can use some of that dancing knowledge I have. I'm not the best singer, but I can dance pretty okay. So I'm excited to help out with that and just kind of jump in and help out wherever I can while I'm still in my mid-20s and can do all that stuff.
Good for you.
Well, thank you.
So, Natalie, thank you for saying yes to Ballard. Thanks for giving us time to get to know you today, and look forward to seeing you out and about.
Well, thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ballard Proud. There's more to come as we dive into what it means to be Ballard Proud. Until next time, I'm Superintendent Danny Trimble, and I hope you have a great day.